Hey, hey, Morton.
Yes,
How is
sir.
it? How is it going?
Doing well tonight. Doing well, sir.
That is good. That is good. For all my YouTube frogs, what we're doing here is over on Patreon. We have every month we do a deck doctor where we are sitting down with my super rad patrons at the $5 tier or above, and we're talking about a deck and cleaning it up and discussing it. I like how you named it the Point Man. I like that name. Getting there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
At least somebody finds my name's funny because I
Yeah.
always like to think I'm twice as clever than I actually am.
At least 3 times. And so what we're gonna do is I just want to sit down and I want to have a conversation with you about the deck and see what we can make with it. Iida is one of those characters that I have put quite a bit of time into, specifically under the symbol that you've built, and so I'm excited to hear what it is that you think about the deck. But before we jump into that, a couple clarifying questions. Is this a deck that you have in paper?
This is basically a deck I'm kind of wanting to get the fine tunings done because I built it, tested it a little bit. Now, kind of going back under the hood, do some tweaks, maybe get some outside perspectives on it, and then do some more testing. Once satisfied, put it all together
Okay,
in
cool.
paper.
I love that. So our options are like pseudo limitless because like the goal is to finish the deck. Right? There's not
Yeah.
like a budget restraint or anything.
Nope.
Okay. Secondly, how competitive do you want this list to be?
Um. Ooh. Basic.
We pulling out all the
That's
stops, or
a.
we doing some cheeky stuff?
Let's pull out all the stops.
Okay.
Let's.
Okay. All right. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So first and foremost, give me the elevator pitch for the deck. What
Uh. Elevator pitch is, hey, do you want to instantly put 2x3 momentum in your momentum area and then make it reciprocal burst insanely fast, insanely big?
Mm-hmm.
Well, welcome to Fire Iida, where we can actually put instant explosive release down 3 times and say, hey, we have 3 momentum. Try to block this reciprocal burst.
Yeah, I love that. And reciprocal is just like the kill condition of the deck.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I dig it. I dig it. Um, what do you think is the weakest attack in your lineup?
Weakest attack is definitely going to be either instant explosive release because it's highly conditioned, like it's conditional,
Mm-hmm.
or engine rush because of the enhanced commit one foundation. I feel is a little taxing, especially when you kind of want to get deep into some strings a little bit, and your only kind of card pool clearing is instant explosive release. But again, that's very conditional.
Yeah.
Um, so either of those two are probably the weakest attack. I'd probably go with uh probably instant explosive release. Again, it's a 3 high for 3. Um, and we do thankfully have some speed and damage to put on it with like the likes of heroic lineage and natural leader. Actually, we can't put a natural leader on it's not a mid attack. So like we
Do
can
you
put
mean
some
for engine rush or instant explosive release?
instant explosive
Okay.
release.
Okay.
Sorry. So yeah, so it's a 3 high for 3, and so we can put some speed and a little bit of damage on it with the foundation that we have. But again, this is basically like I would say how you put it down. This is very much a flow card,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a conditional one because the first attack that I throw down has to hit. I have to make it hit. So if I want, if basically if I have like a couple instant explosives and reciprocal in hand, and basically I want to go for the kill, I then have to use a first attack to make sure that whatever I have down has to hit. So I have to burn the once per turn
Right.
on Iida to make it fast enough to basically maybe get ahead of some people's speed hate out there, especially if I'm going against Void.
Right.
And so instant explosive release, while awesome, the combo works, but if I'm stuck with nothing but instant explosive releases in hand, feels really bad.
Yeah. How do you feel about flying thruster kick?
Flying Thruster Kick, I super love, especially since if I can start off a turn with Reciprocal Extend and basically make it a 6 high 6, really really nice. I think
6 I 8 if we've got thruster kick.
6 high, yeah.
Yeah. On a 4 dip, that's pretty good. Yeah, my personal opinion is I think of all the attacks, I think flying thruster kick is the weakest IMO because we either have to burn the Iida once per turn or the recipro extend on it. I love Engine Rush, but only because of like the way that we play the deck, right? I think Engine Rush plus instant explosive releases feel great. Engine Rush plus a handful of foundations feels great. Like an 8 mid for 5 that we into the enhanced step on is like great for pushing through the instant explosive releases, as well as just be able to draw, build, and hold 3 cards. Like build 3, hold 3 for defense is like so stellar when it comes to just like a solid poke turn, get your momentum, and then continue.
Okay.
How do you feel about Turn to Dust? It's the one of the only non-kicks, this and instant explosive release.
Turn to Dust. I mean, I honestly like it. Especially if you can kind of open the turn with it, especially like on early turns
Mm-hmm.
when maybe if I'm a little loaded on attacks and maybe it is a turn where I feel I can kind of put a little more pressure on. It's
Okay.
a great opener because stun 2. I have the health to burn to my opponents to burn to make it make it deal 7 damage instead of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then if I can throw evil gaze on top of it to where if it's blocked, I can destroy something, or
Yeah.
if I'm ahead in the build, destroy a foundation to make them destroy one of the foundations that was Sun 2, or make them lose 2 more. So
Love
then
it.
this becomes a 9 damage. So it's very modular.
Okay. I dig that. I dig that. I'm gonna open up another Ultra link and just look at fire attacks. So one of the big reasons that I like Iida so much is he is not limited by a keyword on his character for the plus speed. It's not like Bakugo, like after your Fury attack is blocked or something like that. And so the fact that we get to like kind of like play with whatever we want to is interesting. How many low attacks do we play? Just the one. Just kidding.
Just reciprocal.
Next attack is mid. It gets speed. How many mids? We've got 6 mids total, so that's not going to work. How do you feel about things like signature right swing to cycle your deck a little more? Do you think signature right swing would be better than engine rush of commit if it's not block draw 2? Whereas signature right swing just gets you there?
Yeah, especially it's filtering because I can drop two dead cards, draw 2 cards. I definitely like the idea.
We never want to reciprocal extend onto engine rush anyways, because like we don't want to play a 4 diff into essentially a 6 diff and then commit a foundation making it a 7 diff. Like that just does not feel good at all. And we're gonna have a ton of cards in our hand because of calling for backup, just like getting to just hit the free draw. And it's a 1 low block. Whoa, I like that a ton actually. Huh. That's neat. That's neat. Ice Storm is another really good card in your deck. It's a low. It's got Breaker 2, which is fantastic. Whenever we have just a block, as well as it's another kill condition that we use our momentum for. Because right now, one of the biggest issues that I have with the Iida that I have under fire, is I have 1 kill condition, and it's Recipro Burst. I do not have a second kill condition that I could even possibly do, right? And so the fact that this thing accidentally could be powerful 3 out of nowhere after they have spent all of the resources half blocking this Recipro Burst, and I'm just like, actually, take $1 million because of Ice Storm is something we could potentially look at, right? And then we've got the rest of Shigaraki stuff. Yeah, I think those would be the 2 cards. I'm going to make a copy of your list, and we can look at putting things in the sideboard. We'll put Ice Storm in the sideboard. We'll put Right Swing in the sideboard. And then actually for the sideboard, maybe Giant Ice Wall, depending on what ranges we have. Literally none. Okay. All right. So maybe not. But yeah, I actually really like Signature Right Swing over Engine Rush here. I like that. I like that a lot. But at the same time, Engine Rush also has powerful too, and so it's also a kill condition. It's just really 5 diff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. just as EX1's kind of, I guess, obligatory, but you're not really going to do anything with
Right.
spending one momentum for one speed. Does not feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. Um.
So would you put the right swing in as the same two of, or would you maybe increase the count?
I think the two of is fine. So here's how I feel. I actually think that maybe that's just like you would test it, right? And you see if you feel
Mhm.
like your engine rush is killing people enough with the +3 speed, and then like 2 off of evil gaze, capture evildoers, going and getting it. It makes your instant explosive releases a little more online. Like engine rush can be a a additional kill condition, just like Ice Storm, in like its own sense. But it is a big maybe. It just depends
Okay.
on how much you um it just really depends on how much you like reciprocal burst being the kill condition versus something else, right? Because like engine rush, whenever you look at it on paper, does not feel like a kill condition like Ice Storm does. Engine rush feels like a flow aggro card as opposed to Ice Storm being a disruption aggro card. Does that make
And
sense?
also, yeah, because like that breaker two is honestly can be turn altering.
Right. To the point where like it's possible that we even put it up to a 20 attack deck. How many cards we have? 58. We might have to sneak like 2 more foundations in, but like we cut flying thruster kick down to a 2 of, right? And then we toss 2 ice storm in the deck, and so we're not losing out on our mid blocks. In fact, we're increasing it 1 by 1 and having a breaker block. Imagine, if you will, live in this world with me. We eat a response, we evil gaze, we ice storm them. You auto block whatever you want, blow up one of the foundations, and then breaker to them. They're done playing that turn. They just don't get to play anymore. They have that 2 card combo plus your character has said skip your next turn. And if they do decide to play into that turn, they're just going to be even more committed out for your +3 speed to maybe not be used on the first move. Maybe it is actually saved for the reciprocal burst later on in the turn, like you want it to be. Right? It makes your turn to dust even more like turn to dust and ice storm working in tandem of committing 2 cards on your turn, committing 2 cards on their turn is like they don't have cards, which means that you just get to kill them.
I'm liking it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think we have to keep extend. We have to keep burst. Maybe we keep the engine rush. So here's what I would say before you get buck wild about both of these cards, right swing and ice storm. I think maybe we take and test them one at a time, right? So if you want a little bit more disruption, we cut the thruster kick down to the 2 of, and we increase our ice storm, increase our count, or you leave your flying thruster kick where it is, and you take out the double engine rush, you put in the double right swing, and give that a shot just because of the fact that the less kicks we have in our deck, the weaker our extend is going to be. And we want to be able to make sure that we capitalize on our extend. Because if we take down thruster kick down to a 2 of and take the engine kick out totally, it's just gonna make extend not quite as consistent, and that's one of the main ways that we get to like poke through big long turns. We quote unquote extend turns. Ha 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 ha.
Okay, definitely good things to try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really liking signature right swing. I'm really liking ice storm. If I had to pick one right now, my brain always goes to ice storm because I think not dying is better than trying to kill them,
Yeah.
especially
Plus,
in poke Iida, right?
yeah, it's definitely it's where my thought was too, because like you were talking about, we kind of need to keep our kick count nice and fat due to the fact that extend becomes a very consistent card. It helps all the other kicks become big, and so also the idea of when you sold me on first attack -3 using Iida, evil gaze it, okay, whatever attack it is, block it, breaker two, destroy a foundation.
Yeah.
And what do you got?
And this breaker too also like impacts characters like Nomu, which we have like a hard matchup against. Like the best
Mhm.
attack on our deck versus Nomu is Turn to Dust, and so if we force them to like breaker to them on like their third move, and then we break it to them on like their third move, and they have to play a foundation, and they have to commit foundations in order for you to do it. That's damage that maybe we can sneak in with Reciprocal Burst later in the turn, later in the game.
And I mean, that's definitely good advice since I'm mainly playing Aizawa, so I haven't thought about the Nobu matchup outside of Aizawa since Aizawa can just go no.
Yeah, very much so. On to assets actions. Fire doesn't have any assets. What's up with this evil gaze being at a 3 of, my guy?
Uh, that was just kind of initial thought. Like I wanted to keep the card count. Not like I didn't want to balloon up above 60. Like I wanted either keep it at like a hard 60 or maybe like just a slim 59 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so my thought was for capture evildoers to be in the capture evildoers in there as well. Was that evildoers is nice disruption, especially for like the Kaminari and the Ochako matchups to knock out important momentum pieces that they need to have in there in order to fulfill their combos. So
Yeah, I feel that. Have you tried evil gaze at a 4 of?
not yet, no.
Okay. Let me sell this to you. Number one, evil gaze is one of the best ways for our symbol to fight coordinated effort. It's the best way, and so seeing it more often is the better. It's a solid one mid block with breaker, as well as it's pay 2 life for +2 speed, +2 damage on Recipro Burst.
And if they do try to block it and they go for the half block, they have a hit cost. Okay.
Correct. And so this card all by its lonesome is like insane. I think once again, I think it's the best ultra rare that has been printed in the set. Because it's an action as a trap card out of your hand. I think that if you lowered your foundation count just a smidge, right, or even like put it up to the 60, you could have the double quad evil gaze, double capture evildoers, and feel fine about it. I think
Okay.
you will still feel fine about it. I love capture evildoers in this deck. It is, in fact, I love it so much that I would put the other 2 copies of Capture Evildoers in the sideboard, and I would versus momentum heavy decks like your Meteor Shower Loop decks. You just swap the 2 numbers because the Air Life Chaos decks that are playing your Meteor Loops do not care about their foundation base. There are not good enough foundations that they're like, I need this one, but they do very much care about their momentum. And so this is like a mandatory card in my sideboard. In my All Might deck, I mainboard 3 Capture Evildoers and sideboard the 4th. Like that's how potent I think that card is in the disruption matchup. Thoughts?
Yeah, I haven't gone up against a lot of Kaminaris, or basically, I haven't been subject to the Meteor Loop a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just sort of a knowing that once things start get going and more players start coming, they'll start playing those decks. So that was the thought when I put it in there was like better be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather have it in there and have it basically better have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
That's fair. That is very, very fair. All right, onto the foundations. Let's do some quality check. Let's look at spam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 out of our 34. So just over a third. That's not stellar. And we have to play things like in danger. Yuck. All right, so tell me about this foundation pool that you got here. What do you think is good? What do you think is bad?
Obviously, all the Iida stuff is great for what we want to do. Is obviously we want to make things fast, make it very unblockable. Heroic Lineage is probably a phenomenal card, offensive and defensively. Natural Leader is great for our attack lineup since all the picks all our mid attacks get the bonus plus any of our kicks get it, and then also defensively, um, we get to basically just tell whatever basically if someone tries to play a combo piece, basically we then get to pick whatever foundation they want to combo with and say no, which I think is great to have, especially in here. Film on duty, great, awesome, love it. Irrefutable force of nature. Um, it's great spot defense if you need it. Um, seal something that you really don't want to have to deal with. Um, but also in the mirror matches and like the Earth Foundations are basically in the Kirishima and the Nomu stuff, which is on Earth. So they'll have their stuff we can stop. Latent skills can filter, agitation. I mean, I only have it at a 2 because of the only 3 attack is instant explosive release and turn to dust.
Mm-hmm. 6
So
targets.
yeah, so it's one of those. It's nice to see it, but if you don't see it, you're not going to lose out on anything. Cool student. It's great for like those big turns we need to extend on, or if it actually for both modes, whether or not you need a good check or you need to play some time to make it a good check.
Yeah.
Calling for backup, like I said, it boosts our hand up. Precise control is great defense. Breaker 1, always have a breaker 1 mid block in your hand.
Yeah.
Arrogant disposition. I think I just put it in there for spam, but I guess there are also some good punch attacks that need answering. Plus,
Okay.
having a 6 check is nice. Clever distraction, I think good defense for us because there's a lot of good high attacks, a lot of good low attacks, and in danger was kind of a last minute thought about um, for those attacks that get so big that you kind of needed to give it a reset.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, I don't think Fire has any like those hard reset where it's like return this card to its printed damage at speed. So
Correct.
I thought
Our hard
I thought
reset is fulfilled in my duties, and it never gets there. That's
right,
that's our reset.
right, and so like I thought in danger was kind of like a nice happy medium.
Okay. Okay. My initial thoughts, I think, and we'll go from the quantity, right? We'll start at the very top. Cool student, I think, is only good on defense because we are so momentum hungry. We're so momentum hungry that this card is pretty much exclusively used for discard of momentum. My check to block this move gets +2, and that's it. To the point where like we maybe, depending on what other cards we could have in the deck, we could maybe cut this down to a 1 of because we don't really want to see it because of how good our response is. Plus, Evil Gaze is going to go up to the 4 of, which Evil Gaze and Cool Student do the same job. One's just on board and uses a different resource, one pays 2 life, and so on. And then we're going to Ice Storm them to try and stop their turn. I don't think that we need Cool Student. I don't see Iida playing more than 3 attacks on a turn, right? To get on his kill turn, he does a lot of poke build pass, as opposed to like a Tokoyami who wants to play out 6 attacks in a turn and play 4 actions and like have the circus music play, So I would put it down to a 1 of personally. Agitation, I would do the same thing. I think this card is the perfect example of I want to side this card out for a different tool, but I don't know what to put the tool in currently. I think Agitation at the 1 of as a cool flow card is very neat to make your turn to dust that you push up and over as the poke, make them make some tough choices on the 2 enhances. Have that card turn into a cantrip, just like Reciprocal Extend is cool. I think it's a cool ability. I like Erica Disposition because we are playing Turn to Dust into Recipro Burst into Engine Rush. Like I think that like having these 5 diffs be so impactful. I love having this 6 check here to accidentally check the 6 and feel good about it. In Danger sucks. In Danger is a bad card, and the 0 diff is not worth it. I would rather just play more 1s and understand that I'm going to be playing it closer to the mid game as opposed to the early game.
Okay.
Clever Distraction's great. Latent Skill is great. Irrefutable Force of Nature, I think, is a mandatory 4 of in the current climate, just because of, number one, the best foundation in the game of coordinated effort, as well as being able to, on the turn that you want to go in, seal the foundations that hard reset Recipro Burst, right? I play Turn to Dust. I am Iida. I get the first enhance always. I will Irrefutable Force of Nature, fulfilled my duty. They don't get to play that card. My Recipro Burst is going to get to see its full potential. I will Irrefutable Force their You're So Obvious, right? I will Irrefutable Force by removing it. I will get rid of their Short Circuit, right? Like there are these cards that I'll get rid of their Night Watch. I absolutely have to stop this card from working, and so there's too much good defense on board for you to not play that card at a 4 of, as well as, oh my goodness, it's such a good block zone. Love Precise Control. I put the 4th one in the sideboard. Heroic Lineage is great. Natural Leader is great. Calling for Backups great. Fulfill My Duty is great. You could maybe cut Natural Leader down to a 2 of, depending. It depends on how clever you are with that first enhance. The real power of this card comes from the first enhance and choosing to turn off those select foundations. It's kind of like a more selective Irrefutable Force of Nature, but it sometimes can be an aggro card. But this card has you fall into a trap of overextending really easy because my opponent interacts with my kick, and I really am momentum hungry, and I want this kick to make contact, so I will commit and give my Recipro extend +2 speed, and then it still gets blocked, and I go into their turn with an extra committed foundation. And so, like, +2 speed of commit a card is not nearly as good as essentially discard a card, pay 2 life, +2 speed, blow up one of their foundations. And so, like, when you look at Natural Leader versus Evil Gaze, how impactful Natural Leader is on the top enhance is not worth it being in here at the 3 of, in my opinion. If you use and abuse the bottom enhance, if you're very good at that, jam this card in at 3, even possibly a 4 of, because that card's really crazy good. I will be honest, I'm not very good at using the first enhance on Natural Leader. So it's a card that I, as Tamer Cardwell, have to value lower in my deck because that I know that I am not going to play that line the same way. Make sense?
Yeah.
Thoughts on what I've said so far?
Yeah. No. Definitely see where you're going. I'll have to test out Natural Leader more because I'm in the same spot where I'm probably not big brain enough to really abuse that first enhance, but I guess it's something to build towards and to figure it out and to learn more in playtesting. So I'll have to play it more and use it and kind of use it more in some different situations, see how it plays out and kind of come to a conclusion on that. But for now, I think the 2 of is fine.
Okay. Let's go ahead and look at. Oh, so do you have more you wanted to say? Please interrupt me.
No. I was going to say no. Definitely, I think when you mention just what Irrefutable Force of Nature can do and the current landscape of what's going on, especially if you're going to see 5 Kirishimas,
and you will.
Yep, it's better to have this in your tool bag. But yeah, would you probably think about maybe putting latent skill up more, or do you think 3 of us is just the right spot?
I think 3 of is fine in our current look at inside of the Deck Doctor. We're going to go through all of the fire foundations because the other big thing that our deck and specifically the fire symbol is missing is deadlock threats. And so if we can shoehorn in some deadlock threats, the better. Like we have Evil Gaze, which just destroys the foundation. We have Ice Storm, which gives our move speed, which is great. And then we have Flying Thruster Kick, which gives us momentum. But that's it, and they're all single-use abilities as opposed to something along the lines of, back-to-back. Your ally rush deck gets +1/+1 just by pressing the button, which, feels good. We're gonna go in and look and see if the fire symbol has anything that can support us inside of Deadlock. Okay. Because this deck can easily go to Deadlock because it's not trying to kill you on turn 2, turn 3. If my opponent just, if my opponent builds and uses their life as a resource and lets you stack the 2 momentum and lets you you poke build and they go, I'll build 5, right? And on their turn, the +3 from Iida is not going to matter because they just have enough resources to deal with that initial poke. right? And so after they have gotten to deadlock, they just like flying thruster kick gives you your momentum that you missed out on your pokes, but wouldn't you just rather like punish them for being in deadlock and make them play the game differently? And so that's what we're gonna go look at.
Okay.
None of these cards matter. Agitation, or sorry, aggressive temper is neat. Burst speed's not a card. Capabilities, we've got 2 cards that it touches. Maybe it's a neat sideboard card. Frozen. I think Frozen's really cool as an option, as like one of those nifty one-ofs. Destroy a foundation, your rival commits one foundation. Not only does it keep you out of deadlock, because we don't have any of those tools that do that. Yeah, we have no tools that keep us out of deadlock. It also gets to, if they overextend even a little bit because of the stun on Turn to Dust as well as the breaker on Ice Storm, they are now going to be committing even more, and this is how we also get to fight Nomu. So for sure, I'm just looking for more deadlock, and it looks like we just don't have it. Yeah, it looks like the Fire Symbol has literally 1 piece of deadlock. Unfortunate. Yeah, I think the only thing I would maybe put in is look at maybe Frozen. I think that card going in at like a 2 of might be where it's at, just because like, I mean, the Void Infinite deck is like going to be annoying and frustrating, which we do get to shut down because of Irrefutable, right? We get to turn that off because this is gonna be a 4 of. What's our block zones look like? Yeah, we might get rid of some mids. Hold up. Yeah, this card's just gone. We're just not playing Endanger. I think the card's not very good. Get rid of Endanger, get rid of 1 agitation, and then sure up our lows and our highs. Yeah, especially our lows. Maybe a 4th of Heroic Lineage. Maybe. Definitely a 4 of Irrefutable.
That's one of my favorite cards to have. So 4th Heroic Lineage, 4th Irrefutable. Yeah, no, yeah, definitely.
Maybe a 3rd Arrogant, but like now we're pushing into like our deck being pretty thick.
Yeah.
And then cut the Endangers. I think that card's not very good. Cut 1 Agitation because it's neat if we see it. Cut 1 Cool Student, and maybe put in the double Frozen, and that'll sure up your high blocks, right? Because we got rid of 1 mid and 1 high to replace the highs, and the block zone's still too high.
Okay.
And it gets you out of deadlock, and it also puts the cards like Calling for Backup and Latent Skill back in your discard pile, so that when you cycle, you get to redraw them again. And so now you don't have 3 copies of Latent Skill, you have 3 plus X copies of whatever you redraw. You know?
Okay. Engine's a low. Blast Astral is a low. Blast is a low. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm seeing it come together now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like obviously the deck that you brought is like a really tight, like is in a good spot, but I think maybe pushing up Evil Gaze to the 4 of, trying out your Ice Storm at a 2 of, maybe even siding a 3rd depending on how mid heavy your opponent's deck is or how much disruption you think you need. Like if somebody's playing more aggressive than you are because you're poke build pass kill them. Like your kill is normally happening on turn 4, turn 5. If their kill is happening on turn 3, Ice Storm in the sideboard might be something that you could look at.
Yeah.
As well as, I don't know if there are any other fire characters we would want to side. I feel like Bakugo doesn't work, Todoroki doesn't work, Shigaraki doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like you were just stuck on Iida. And so that means that you need your sideboard cards to be as impactful as possible.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, the hiccups?
Yeah.
That sucks.
You need a minute?
No, that's okay. I just hate the hiccups because I'm a big baby.
Okay.
Yeah. So thoughts? Chat. What's your guys' thoughts? How are you thinking? How are you looking? Because I'm thinking I'm thinking with these small changes, I think that you're gonna find a bit more success. Because excuse me, like Maybe cool student at the 2 of is the right call, and that'll just take testing to see. But like, I just don't see. You're so momentum hungry, dude. Like, you want that momentum so much.
Oh,
Like,
so bad.
discarding that momentum for the +2 to your check is just going to feel bad, unless that +2 to your check is like another recipro burst that you're pulling through.
Mhm.
Yeah. The thing about playing Fire Iida is like the main reason to play it is exclusively fulfill my duty. Like, you just get to just turn off one attack and just be good with it, and like that just feels great. It feels so good.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right. Thanks so much.
That looks good. Like I said to everybody else, make sure that you are letting me know over on Patreon what this looks like at your locals. What you have found works and what doesn't work. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Would be cool. And I'll keep working on my Fire Iida. I mean, this is obviously where I get to have my starting list of as well.
All right. All right. Cool.
All right, man. Thank you much for hanging out.
All right.
I
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.